Good morning, all Spanish 1 students. I would like you to know this is like the 7th take on this video. My dog barked in one, the doorbell rang in one, my phone rang in one. Anyway, it's been crazy. So if you hear any strange sounds, just ignore them and press on. Mrs. Ness and I hope that you have all had a wonderful spring break. We hope that you have gotten some time away from the computer and from other electronic devices and actually spent some time outside. The weather has been nice. It's been awesome to get a break and to get some outside time. Last week, before spring break, we concentrated on verbs that end in AR. This week, we are going to concentrate on the other two types of infinitive verbs, IR and ER verbs. Today, we're going to learn how to conjugate them. Now, once again, there are 3 different types of verbs in Spanish. They are called infinitives when they end in these letters. AR verbs, which by now you guys, I'm sure, are AR verb conjugating geniuses, right? You have ER verbs, verbs that end in ER, and you have IR verbs, verbs that end in IR. Now, don't get this ending confused with the verb ear. The verb ear, to go, is a verb. It's its own verb. This is verbs that end in IR. In order to give the verb a subject, you must conjugate it. The first step is you have to know what ending you are going to replace. In this particular verb here, vivir, it's an IR verb, so we are going to take off the IR verb ending and replace it. Now let's once again look at a verb conjugated in English and see how the conjugations change ever so slightly to match their subject. Spanish verbs do the same. So you have I eat, you eat, he, she, it eats. You'll notice the slight conjugation of the S, right? Then you have we eat and they eat. If you're from the South, of course, here in the vosotros square, you would say y'all eat. We don't use that very much in English, but it does exist. So verbs that end in ER and IR have the same endings except for the nosotros and vosotros forms. Let's go over them. Please get out a paper and pencil and write these endings down. The yo form, just like the AR verbs, ends in the letter O. The to form ends in an ES. It always ends in a vowel and then an S, just like the AR verb ends in an AS. The usted, L, and ella forms end in an E. There's your E. Now, I told you earlier that the nosotros and vosotros forms are different. They are. The nosotros form of ER verbs is hemos, and the nosotros form of IR verbs is emos. Do you notice just the slight change of vowels? The vosotros form, once again, is a little different. The vosotros form of ER is E with an accent IS, and of course, for IR verbs, I with an accent S. You say them ace and ease. We'll practice those a little bit later. Then once again, they go to shared verb ending for the ustedes, ellos, and ellas form of EN. So all of the conjugations in black, they are shared. The conjugations in pink go with the ER verb forms, and the conjugations in purple go with the IR verb forms. So now let's practice. There are all the endings once again. Here's the verb escribir. I put the IR in purple because it's an IR verb. If you'd like to conjugate it with me, here we go. If you want to say I write, you say escribo. Yo escribo una carta. I write a letter. Then for the to form, you would take off that IR once again and you would add an ES. Escribes. Tú escribes una carta. You write a letter. Then for the usted, el, and ella form, you take off the IR and you add an E. Escribe. Él escribe una carta. He writes a letter. Now, once again, for the nosotros and vosotros forms, they are specific to IR or ER verbs. So here we have the nosotros and nosotras form. You would say escribimos. You'll notice that the I matches the IR verb ending of escribir. Then for the vosotros form, you have escribís. Here you have the I with an accent and an S. This I matches the I of escribir. Then you go back to the shared verb ending for ER and IR verbs. For ustedes, ellos, and ellas, it is escriben, and en. Escriben una carta. They write a letter. There are all the verb endings. Here we have the verb comer. The verb comer, I put here the ending in pink because it's an ER verb. So here we have the endings. Yo como, I eat. You'll notice that the O is the same for all AR, ER, and IR verbs. Tú comes. Usted, él, and ella come. Now you'll notice that the conjugations for nosotras and nosotros are specific to the ER verb, comemos. Here you have an E ending that matches the ER ending of comer. So you say comemos pizza, we eat pizza. For vosotros and vosotras, it's the same way. You would take off the ER and add an E with an accent, IS. So you have comes, which means y'all eat. Then we go back to our same shared ending for the ustedes, ellos, and ellas form of comen, which means they eat. There are your endings once again. Now let's practice. If you don't have a piece of paper and pen handy, get one now, and let's do these together. The first one says, she eats pizza. Obviously, the verb to eat is comer. So if you take off this ER, you add the common ending for the usted, él, and ella form, you would have ella come pizza. The next one, we live in Lehigh. The verb to live is vivir. It's not on your list, but it's a really easy one to learn. So you know that we live has its own ending for IR verbs, and it's going to be nosotros vivimos en Lehigh. You'll notice that this I in vivimos and the I in vivir match. They both have an I. A couple others. They run in the park. The verb to run is correr. It ends in an ER. We know that the IR and ER verb endings for they are the same. It's an EN. So here we have ellos corren en el parque. Number 2, I write notes at school. The verb to write is escribir. If we take off this IR, we add the proper verb ending for the yo form, you're going to get yo escribo notas en la escuela. I have 2 more. Number 1, y'all drink Coca-Cola. Beber, by looking at it, you know it's an ER verb. You know that the y'all form, or nosotros, has its own ending with E with an accent, IS. So you're going to say, vosotros bebéis Coca-Cola. You'll notice that this E and this E match. That's how you know it's an ER verb. You, familiar, drive a car. Here you have the verb conducir, and you have tú conduces un coche. That is all we have for today. Please follow the page that we have set up for you in Canvas and do the other online activities for some more practice. Have a great day. Adios.